Just doing my daily call, and this is obviously me just looking at the markets, trying to identify new opportunities. The main thing that I think will be a worry to me right now is volatility. I mentioned this in the title. Volatility could spike up easily. So if you guys have any thoughts, you just feel free to share them and let me know how you see the markets. Right now, I'm looking at um, the S&P 500. The way the S&P 500 is currently is it's risk on. However, I see this clear resistance here around 680, 690 on the SPY, and there is a huge gap between the EMA. So this is one of the reasons why I think volatility can spike up. If we go to the VIX, you can have a look at the VIX as well and see the issue that I have with the markets. Huge gap down on the VIX. And it's not to say that this won't follow through and we can go all the way down to 15, 16. If we go sub 20, in my opinion, we are very bullish and we end up moving to other levels. You're talking about here um, probably 7K again with the S&P 500. So I'm watching this area very carefully here. Actually, this whole zone. If we get a spike here, we have to be very careful to cover our current positions, and um, we have to essentially protect ourselves and manage risk here. Overall, I think the market's looking okay. The ceasefire is not going to plan. It's not really a ceasefire, and in my opinion, we'll probably find the market direction being confirmed after the 2 week period. Meaning, if we've had a instant drop here on the VIX, we can move up a little bit higher on the volatility, drop in the markets, and then come back down for that continuation play on the lower side or the long on the VIX and the short on the risk on assets. Let's see how it goes. At the moment, I'm fairly positive in the markets, but still very cautious. Let's have a look at the Nasdaq. 1 second. So the VIX is a huge focus for me right now. Trying to look at the volatility if it spikes up a little bit. Here we have the Nasdaq 100 QQQ ETF. I was looking at the breakout of this trend line for a continuation on the long side and moving on to a risk on or shifting into a risk on environment. I'd probably say the midpoint, which is this midpoint here from the range in market, would be a really risk on environment where we have enthusiasm and follow through. Of course, clearing the highs would be another reason why we would be more aggressive in the markets. I opened up just one trade, so I ended up buying AMD on the 2nd. It's moving fairly well. It's moving with the overall market, and I'm not looking to add anything else at the moment. I purposely left the stop loss quite deep with the idea that there could be volatility in this current market, and I don't want to over expose myself. It is one trade. I was looking at other opportunities, which I'll cover a little bit later, but AMD is the only stock I'm holding right now, and it's up about 7%. The Dow Jones, can have a look at the Dow Jones. Just want to do something quickly here, guys, before I continue with the Dow Jones. Just want to check something. Just need to share this on my Telegram and some other groups that I run. And just my Discord as well. And then I will continue with. I always forget to share it with community members. Just assume they would. Just letting them know right now. And I'll continue with the Dow Jones. Right. So Dow Jones, big move here and a rebound. I'll cover some of these sector rotations as well and what I'm looking. Finance was a big opportunity, which I identified on the weekend, but the gap up and everything else didn't really help with the structure. So I didn't buy any finance stocks. I had them on a watch list on Sunday, shared them in the Discord group, but never actually found an opportunity that seemed low risk. Dow Jones spiking up. This would be basic materials. As you can see, basic materials 3% yesterday. We have industrials around 3%. So they're gaining a lot more than some of these other sectors. Tech is kind of on par with these ones, but these two have been two sectors that have rebounded and been quite good in the last 2 to 3 days. Again, it's only 2 to 3 days. The follow through is the problem. With no follow through or a dip here, then we would have to be cautious. Personally, I would like this dip to come, and then we can load up on low risk, high reward plays on the lower time frames. You're talking about the 1 hourly, 30-minute here, and that's how I would trade this. These ETFs or any stocks at the moment. That's what I'm looking for. So Dow Jones looks good, but too early to say. Has broken a key trend line here, and I expect the whole market to dip in reality. So that would mean the volatility would increase and spike up, and then once we get to that sweet spot of volatility and enthusiasm, then we can identify some lower time frame opportunities on the bounce. As you see in here with IWM, Russell 2000, this was actually one of the best opportunities because of the way it was structured, and it's held quite well. There was the initial risk on that you could have been a little bit more aggressive if you entered here. I bought AMD on the second, which was right here. AMD isn't part of the Russell 2000, but the idea is buying early is a bit riskier. Then you have the spike up on the Monday and the Tuesday, and now we have the dip. Now there's two areas on this dip that I'll be looking for. There's the retest of this trend line, which I've already drawn, but there's also this area here. This area down here would probably be a little bit better with us getting this breakout in 2 weeks' time exactly. So around the 20th, 21st of April, 2 weeks from now, meaning it's correlated and connected with the ceasefire and the decision after the 2 weeks ceasefire and the negotiations that happen between the US and Iran. So that's what I'll be monitoring. I think that's where the market will be decided. Moving forward from the indices, tech. You have tech here showing quite a bit of strength. I was looking at this trend line for the breakout, and it's one of the reasons why I took AMD as a trade, moving quite well. And then now we have 142, and then we could easily start moving across to these higher levels if momentum's there. Still think that there should be a dip. and I'm happy to wait and load up a little bit later on the dip with the lower time frames being used for entries. Finance was a big opportunity. I really liked European banks, so Santander was one of them, but this just on the Monday and the Tuesday just spiked up a lot, and I wasn't willing to risk it in this current market. And yeah, we are where we are. It's not that big of a deal because there'll be other opportunities in the finance sector, and also a few brokers like eToro were looking quite nice a few days ago. Quite like eToro's structure here. You're looking at this structure. We have this area. Now we have this area. We also have this zone here, which could clear out. So when we're looking at eToro, we can look at the higher time frames. You know, you go to the weekly here, and you're looking at maybe the first move since the IPO. Right. So first upward trending move after consolidation. So low, this is the lowest low, higher low, and then potentially we can break and move to these levels here around 40. That would give us a really, really good opportunity there for 1 to 3. And then if we get lucky with a bigger move in the markets, maybe 49, which could be, you know, 1 to 6, 1 to 7. I'll do the calculations here. Whether you guys, okay, something along the lines of this. Of course, there'll be slight variations in where I place the stop losses, and but 49 would give us a 1 to 7. 40 would give us a 1 to 4. So it looks quite nice. I was looking at interactive brokers as well. I felt brokers would move well, and they did. But again, I think with these brokers, I'm going to wait for that retest around this zone and then buy the bounce on the lower time frames. So that's where I'm at with finance. Let's look at some of these other sector rotations. Feel free to drop some comments and let me know what you guys think about these. I don't know if on X you can do this, but essentially, yeah. Okay. All right. So consumer discretionary. I think consumer discretionary can be a very, very good breakout sector. It hasn't moved with the rest of the market yet, so we can monitor this one for the breakout and potentially follow through. So this could be the follow through market. So we have tech moving well, we have finance moving fairly well, and then consumer discretionary could be the second stage of this wave if we do get a bullish shift in the market, which I think not yet. I think 2 weeks is probably what we have to wait. Let's go to staples. Staples are also tightening a little bit here. Could go either way. So I'll add an alert on these ones just to monitor them. It's always good to have some alerts in place, just to alert you of the conditions of these rotations. Industrials, I mentioned earlier that they moved well with the Dow Jones, but again, as you can see here, this area will have to be filled. Now, not all of this area, but maybe halfway. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. As long as we get that dip and then the bounce, we then are ready to go and be a little bit more aggressive with building the portfolio. I'm only holding AMD, like I mentioned, around 214. I bought it, and I'm looking to add, but I'm not, I'm not ready with anything. I don't think anything's ready for me. Energy drops. So with energy, I would look at this zone here on the retest for that drop to around 55. So if everything gets resolved, energy prices will go down. I think this shifts to a mean reversion, comes back to a key Fibonacci level. I don't use Fibonacci as often, but just to show you guys, maybe the 0.38, which is already tested, but 0.5 could be an option. Depends on how you draw these, but you can draw it from here. So 0.5 could be an option. This is a good opportunity for the continuation play, and US oil could also be traded here with this opportunity. I'll show you the difference here with US oil. So what I would be looking for is resistance here. So we have this area, which is it's been tested a few times, and you have an EMA on there as well, which could provide some resistance, and then we would come back down. So if you're looking to trade, if you're looking to short energy stocks or the ETF XLE or WTI, if you're looking to short, I'd look at US oil on that level that I mentioned. I would monitor that for where it would go. I'll obviously provide insights for the guys in the Discord group in terms of where when I'll be leaning towards short and when I'll be making my entries. But that's what I'll be looking for here. This level. It's key. Healthcare has been doing quite well. I think it can move a little bit here, and it has done. XBI was an ETF that I was looking to trade on the first and second. It's doing okay. They just don't move that much, and it's quite a slow burn. So yeah, it depends on whether you guys enjoy ETFs or not. These days, I've liked ETFs for the sector rotations. Okay, so basic materials. Where are we? Again, waiting on that dip and then the bounce. Real estate's moved quite aggressively. Dip bounce is what I'll be looking for here. So without that dip, you don't get good risk reward ratios. This is the key. You get that dip, you enter here, you tighten on the stop loss, and you get the continuation up to that level. You have a 1 to 4, 1 to 5. If you're buying around here, the volatility could impact you. And you would have to, you're forced to leave stop losses quite deep, and the risk reward ratios are low. So there's no need to take any trades in that environment, or to take, you need to take very few and selective trades. All right, communication, I'm not going to look at this one. And let's look at some of these tech sectors, which I thought cloud could be quite good early in the week. I'm just going to have to look at this one. So what I like actually is software. I know software has been crushed, but and I'm not trading this straight away. Of course, I'm not going to be just buying in to software stocks for no reason. But I like the support that I'm seeing here around this level. There's two areas. There's basically this lower low level with the double bottom, and then there's this zone here. I like the support as long as it holds around these levels. We could see a break, a momentum shift. We have a resistance here, and then we can see a build up. But again, this is looking like 21st, so the second. It's a 2 weeks time from now. It's looking like the 22nd or 21st that we see any rotations on the long side with software. So it's just the state of the market. In software, I liked what were the opportunities I was looking at? Just have to open up the Discord. I shared some there on the watch list. Software, I end up DocuSign was top of my list, I think. Yeah, as you can see here, the consolidation, as long as it holds way good. The breakout could pay out, and I like the risk rewards here. Not too bad. But again, timed with the sector, not just bought blindly because it looks okay individually. You have to time this with a rotation in the sector because this sector is uh, has been impacted. And I end up trading some software stocks here. Eventually, end up selling them from break even. So yeah, we're looking at re-entering in this sector. Robotics up is picking up, and it looks quite promising. I tend to look at RR in robotics. I've traded it a few times, and it can move very aggressively, like it's done here. Then come back down. It's got good earnings. Well, I mean, it looks like it has good earnings, and it's a bit bottomed out right now. So RR could be a good robotic stock. Again, you could just trade. You can just trade the ETFs if you prefer. At the moment, I am trading a mixture of ETFs on the rotations, and then looking for some good setups in stocks. Where is another sector that I like? Consumer cyclicals here. Retail. I saw a few retail stocks moving. I think it was Abercrombie. Yeah. So I was looking at it around the beginning of April, end of March. It's moved quite well. It's just one of those things where, with the current market, I'm not looking to be aggressive and take risks. So although this moved well, I'm not gonna just jump in blindly. Okay, let's look at some other ones. Energy obviously be crushed. Just gonna watch. Yeah, look, with energy, I do like OIH for short. And yes, it's looking quite good here, but when I look at this, I don't see this following through more than 430, and eventually this trend line will break. I shared it in the community a few days ago, I think last week, and this is what I would be trading as an ETF on the short side. So yeah, do what you will with that information. Copper's moved well, and lithium, which is another idea that I had last week. Fortunately, I didn't buy any lithium. I couldn't find the ETF that I wanted to trade in lithium, but lithium is doing well. Expected from 2 weeks ago when I shared it in the community. So, and then copper miners. Double top comes in. Yeah, I mean, to me, it looks like it wants to come back down to around 79, and then we would have to look at this as an opportunity. That would be, well, a little bit deeper, would be a bit better, like something like that. Kind of why it draws it that way. Okay. XBI health, we mentioned that one. And if you want to look at the shifts in some macros, look at this. I mean, momentum kicks off yesterday. We obviously had the FMOC minutes. On Tuesday, FMOC minutes yesterday. Nothing really to monitor there. And yeah, it's looking okay. Momentum's up. Value's also up. But gap in here. So I don't know. I can't see this just following through straight away, unless peace is declared and everything was resolved in the Middle East, which it's looking a lot more complicated than people think. There's Lebanon involved, Israel. It's not just the U.S. and Iran. So how I'm seeing this is a 2 week break for uh, Western countries to stock up on some oil, and then maybe the war restarts. At least that's what I'm working with. The dollar was the key for me. One of the things I wanted to mention from last week and earlier this week on Monday, I mentioned to the community members that if this breaks, the dollar falls, we will be bullish in the markets. But of course, this kind of gap typically will lead to a retrace, and then we could potentially get the continuation down to provide further momentum to the markets. It just can't follow a straight line just because of the current situation. Let's look at some other opportunities. Yeah, all of these international indices are down today. So probably similar for the US when it opens in about half an hour. And then we have the VIX, which I mentioned, euro dollar. Just look at the Dixie and the trade. That's basically what the euro dollar is. Flipped, I would be looking at continuations on the euro dollar once it dips, because that would mean that the market's looking quite positive. And then liquidity. Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit down, a little bit up. So, yeah, just makes sense with the broader market. Just quickly flicking through these ones. Final bit will be crypto. I'll cover some crypto here. I bought some Bitcoin, Ethereum. One is up, one is down. Pretty much break even where we are. And I mean, there's a lot of annotations here because I do have a lot of crypto lovers in the community. The key for me was this was obviously a bearish break. I decided not to trade it. It didn't offer any risk reward. And then I had the support level, held the support, resisted around this trend line, came back down, broke. This was the key pivot point on the 5th, on the Sunday, obviously with the news and everything else. Key pivot point for the shift. Monday, test that area. Tuesday, breakout. I decided to trade. And then now, again, like the rest of the market, we could see a little bit of a dip, even up as deep as 68, and then move higher. I bought a starter position here. I might add, if it does the dip, I could also add on the breakout towards 82, but I'm seeing this as an 82 target, and I expect it to do fairly well. Ethereum, well, do fairly well as long as it holds this trend line. I'll just show you guys. Do fairly well as long as it holds this trend line, okay? This trend line shifts the market to bearish. That bearish move, I think, doesn't hold up around this level again. So it goes a bit deeper, around 60, could even trigger a trend if a war transpires and everything escalates in the Middle East. Could trigger a move, and we can move a little bit deeper here. But that's essentially what I'm watching in crypto. Ethereum traded this, did a short-term trade on this. So I ended up buying a little bit around 220. Short-term trade, well, intraday trade, Then the swing, I end up buying around 170, so around break even on the swing, a little bit up on the intraday, and I'm hoping that it holds the trend line there. So I'll just show you this trend line and pushes to a higher high. So the problem that we have here is, yes, we've broken out of this area. We could dip back. We need a higher high. We need to clear this. First, we clear this, then we need to clear this. As long as we get back to this level of 2,300, I'm gonna make a profit in this move. So yeah, it's looking okay for the swing. It's an early buy anyway. Around here, we can re-add some around this level. Again, we're looking at next week or the week after. In stocks is looking like the 20th of April. We could get the continuation move if we get the dip this week and next week. And yeah, we can probably see this at 2.6k. Solana is also setting up, lagging a little bit. I have this on watch. Want this trend line to break to kind of show a shift in direction. And then of course we have multiple resistance zones, 90, 93, 96, that is cleared. Then we have 110, which is what we should really be aiming here if you're taking this kind of trade for 1 to 3. Other ideas, trying to see if there's any other ideas. Yeah, I mean, there's no other ideas. What I will do is maybe do some screening here with you guys as well. So everybody can have a look at the screens and what I'm looking for today. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just going to bring up the Discord group so you guys can have a look at some of the screens from a few days ago. In the meantime, I will set up my screen properly for stocks so that there's no. Okay, 1 sec. Just want to make sure I set this up properly. Again, this is my breakout screener, trend reversal mainly. It also captures some continuations, but I mainly look at trend reversals. Okay, so let's look. Okay, right. So large caps are moving. I think we all know large caps are moving. We know the situation. We know why. And just seeing Amazon here on the list. Of course, if it's moved too much, I'm not going to be looking at it. It pops up on the screener. I think Meta had some sort of deal that it released yesterday, which I have to flick through. Yeah, so again, look, this, like I mentioned earlier, this has moved quite a lot. Probably going to come back down, so there's no need. In fact, I'll add an alert here to monitor. There's no need though, because ultimately, if it does come back down, it'll pop up on the screen again, and we'll be able to trade it on the continuation. AVGO has also moved quite a lot. I was watching this, and I was holding this actually before in March for this move upwards. It failed, so I ended up selling it. Meta looks quite promising, so I'll add an alert on Meta here, and then I'll go add another alert around this level. LLY. Yeah, this looks a little bit better. So I've been monitoring this for a while. So this would be, depending on how much you want to factor in the volatility right now, this, you could probably do a deep stop loss. You can even do a stop loss around this level if you're looking for the breakout. Obviously, a couple of zones that you can target here. This is one of them. Okay, and this would be a shift. This would make it risk on, and then we would have to look at how it reacts to the other trend lines I've drawn here and other zones. I don't just use trend lines and 2 EMAs, but the 2 EMAs kind of give you everything you need, and then the multiple time frame analysis that will do. But this looks quite good, and I'll add an alert here. So this would go on my watch list today for the breakout. JP Morgan, it's probably moved a lot. There's no point. Yeah. So we go to the next one. I know MU has moved a lot as well. 10-cent holding. Chinese, Hong Kong. I'll add an alert here. To me, it looks like it needs to do an initial move, come back down, then build momentum, do kind of a head and shoulder pattern before anything happens. But adding an alert means it's on my radar. Oracle could be a good opportunity with software being crushed. As you can see here, I've been monitoring this for a while. Could be probably the best opportunity in software, because it was a big gainer in 2025. Look at that! Look at that move there, 2025. So it's consolidating here, probably coming out of a stage 1 and going into stage 2. And yeah, I mean it's got everything going for it. I'll just add. It's got this support level here. As long as it holds here, even if it tightens for a few weeks, could be perfect. So I wouldn't mind this just bouncing on these levels, and then giving me one of the tightest trend reversals that I've ever witnessed. That'll be ideal. So let's monitor. I mean, I'll add one to this level. And then one on the short side, just to make sure that I monitor it after it moves a little bit lower. All right, so if you guys are enjoying this, make sure you share it and you like, just because it'll help with the algorithms. You know how they are. The more likes and comments you get, the more views you get. So Oracle is definitely on my list, okay? Fact, I will add this. I'm basically working live right now, so I'll add this to my watch list. It's Oracle, and we had, I think it was LLY, slightly better risk rewards on there. This is already moved. Industrial. Cisco's moved. So go to the next one. Applied Materials. It would have been nice, but it's already moved. So again, I'll repeat this. Low risk setups right now do not exist. Very, very few low risk setups. So it's we just have to keep on monitoring the markets and seeing what the best opportunities are. All of these have moved yesterday. Big names, but nothing that I could trade. Look, these are overextended already on the lower time frames. These come back down for sure. I mean, yeah, it can extend for another 1 or 2 days, maybe a week max, but when they dip, we'll get better opportunities. American Express, I had an alert down here. It's in the finance sector I mentioned earlier. Texas Instruments. Right, Thermo, Fisher Scientific. It looks decent, but I'll just have a look. Again, so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for some initial momentum, but I'm not looking for this type of move. Okay. I don't want to be trading anything that's overextended. I don't want to be holding anything for too long. So this is the reason why I'm waiting. There's probably going to be, hundreds of thousands, millions of traders like myself waiting for that dip. And the fear of most beginners is that the dip doesn't come. If it doesn't come on one sector, it will come on another sector. You'll be able to find better opportunities somewhere else or later on down the line anyway on the continuation plays. Okay. 768. I don't think I'll be flicking through all of them. So I'm just going to flick through the names here. Shopify. Yeah, Shopify, I've been monitoring this one. So I'm going to change the alert from this area to here. So that's quite good. Uber. I had Lyft on my watch list 2 days ago. Lyft is also a good option. Uber, I'll add an alert. Let's have a look at Lyft. Yeah, look, Lyft is quite good as well. I will add another alert on Lyft. I think the alert was triggered, but my confirmation criteria wasn't triggered, so I didn't buy it. So Uber, Lyft. Let's look at these other ones. Other names that I would like, maybe this one, banking. Sorry, this is not banking. I thought it was something else. S&P, no. I already mentioned Interactive Brokers earlier with the finance sector. Interactive Brokers, eToro is probably a better play. Starbucks. Let's have a look. So far, we have two good plays. We had, in my opinion, that we should monitor Oracle and LLY. Now I'm working through the list here, looking at the key names I usually look at that I know move well. Yeah, I mean, not really feeling. There's a lot of names here. So this one, Carvana moves quite well. Can trend quite clean. It can trend like this. Well, no, I think this needs a dip, so I'll wait for this one. Monster. Everything's moved. Okay, everything's looking like it showed momentum, but it doesn't mean everything is playable. The risk rewards will be key. Monster. I'm not really keen on beverages right now. DoorDash. So either we're in a V-shaped recovery and we get a little bit of a dip and we just explode, or this is a big fake out and trapping a lot of traders and investors, and then we get a deeper move down. For me, trading one stock means that I've only seen one stock that I've liked, which is AMD. It clearly means that we're still in a potential trap. So I'm not loading up, I'm not buying everything. There's no point. I'm looking for risk reward ratios. I'm not looking for percentages. So, and I'm not looking to just load up on a bunch of stocks and then hold them forever. I'm looking to hold them preferably 1 to 3 months, depending on how well they develop. My average holding is around 28 days. So some of them I hold less. Let's have a look at some of these other opportunities. I'm not gonna have to, I can't go through all of these today just because it's 768. PayPal though, I liked it yesterday, and I'll mention it here. I think it's one of the better opportunities out there because of this move, because of the way it's structured. Initial move, consolidation, and then if we can get this curling up, we then have a very, very, very nice risk reward ratio. And I probably would be willing to be unbelievably tight on this on the breakout. I mean, I can probably go on the lower time frames and use a tighter stop loss to be able to get some really good risk reward ratios here, maybe even around these levels for 1 to 10 if I'm feeling confident on the day. But let's say conservative 1 to 5 around the target level there. So PayPal is one that I think everybody should be monitoring. RKLB is also one that I have on my list. And RBLX. Now again, this has dipped, not breaking structure, not triggering my alert, which was around that level, and it's just still a watch. Let's look at block. This could be a similar setup to PayPal, as you can see here. Similar setup to PayPal. I will actually monitor this. I think it's quite nice. And typically when I get this the midpoint of this channel is breaking, it usually tends to trend up to the upper bands here. So I mean we have a trend line. Or you could do something like this if you want to kind of cover everything. Because trend lines aren't really that clean. Anyway, it's more of a range. So we have a kind of a channel in reality going downwards. If we break out of this area, then we probably go to around 84. That would give us, depending on where we put the stop losses, how tight. This is obviously estimates, not final decisions. 1 to 3, 1 to 4. So yeah, I'll add X, Y, or Z on there. A few other ones, and then I'll probably call it a day. The market's open in about 15 minutes. I'm just going to continue screening some opportunities here. Again, I'm looking at some of the better names, the names I've liked. Airline stocks are bouncing, but still quite weak. I'll add an alert here, just in case. Reddit's always a favorite of mine. Yeah, Reddit could be a nice one. But again, I would like this to come back down, dip, and then provide better opportunities on the lower time frames. I just don't see the market flying off it unless there's some sort of resolution and permanent end to the wall. I'm obviously going to go through all of these a little bit later, but at the moment, I'm not willing to Let's look at some of the other ones. This looks pretty decent. This looks like it will do a inverted head and shoulder, in my opinion. So we come back down around these levels and then move higher. I can't see it breaking out right now. Flute. Sorry, flute. Flute looks good. Gambling. I'm probably going to have to end the live right now. It's so I can give myself about 5 to 10 minutes to prepare for the open. This is part of my preparation, but I need to just log into trading accounts and yeah, I mean, I was trading Lulu around here, and since then I've just been monitoring it. So I had Lulu. Remember earlier I spoke about retail and how retail could pick up. We had Abercrombie and Fitch perform quite well. Part of the watch list of around 2-3 days ago. When was it? Actually, on the 1st of April, because we had the Easter holiday. Let's look at another name that was on that day. Yeah, pharmaceuticals. PayPal's been on that list since the 1st of April. Okay. All right, guys. Pleasure to have you guys joining me today, and I'll try and do these more often. I will have to end the live now because I have to prepare for the markets open in 10 minutes. It's been about 15 minutes explaining to you guys what I am monitoring in the markets and some of my best ideas. So PayPal, Oracle, when these break out, could be good opportunities. Then we obviously have Lyft, we have Grab, for example, in the transportation industry, setting up really, really well here, and could be big opportunities when they reverse. A lot of other things were covered in the video, so make sure to watch the recording once it's posted on X and YouTube.